Hi, my name is John Anderson and I'm here today with Greg Roworth, author of Put Your Business on Autopilot, the 7-step system to create a business that works so well that you don't have to. And today I'm going to be asking Greg what's one simple tip that he can give to business owners to grow their business in less time. So Greg, great to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks John. And my answer to that question is probably a little bit different from what you'd expect. And that is, stop working so hard. Typically most business owners are working over 50 hours a week, and the average Australian business owner actually works 56 hours a week in a business just trying to survive and get going. And my research has shown that there's a fundamental flaw in the way that most business owners grow their business. And that flaw means that there's a limit to the capability of growing the business beyond a certain point. And the owner's working harder and harder trying to make things work, but they end up just trapped in that situation where they're working harder for the business but not getting the results they really want.
And why is that happening?
Well, typically what happens is that the business is really just based on the owner's capabilities. And even though they bring in other people around them and people with good skills and capabilities, still everything revolves around the owner. Yeah.
I understand. And so it's basically the one big tip is stop building a business that revolves around you.
That's the secret, John. The key is to stop working so hard. And we've been told to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
But the real secret, well, there's nothing wrong with hard work. Enterprise is to be encouraged, but it's working harder on the wrong things that's really doing the damage.
Yeah.
And most business owners tend to focus on the things that have to happen in the business to bring in the income. They're focused on the daily sales or the week's sales or the production that has to go out. Focus on the customers paying their bills when they should.
Yeah.
And all these things are legitimate and fair, but if they're the only things that the business owner focuses on, then they're just keeping alive from day to day or week to week. The focus also has to be on growing the business.
Yeah.
And the real task of the entrepreneur is to build a business.
Yes.
And the business has to look after the sales and the production, the operations. So it's really having a focus on creating a business that works so that the owner doesn't have to do the work.
Yeah, creating a business that works so well that you don't have to.
That's it.
Very inspiring. And tell me though, isn't there a lot of business coaches and people in the consulting industry that can show others how to do that?
Yes, there are a lot of business coaches around these days. Unfortunately, I'm a bit disappointed really in the standard of business coaches because they tend to focus on short-term results. And sure, that's what the owner's probably most concerned about when they engage a business coach is, how do I increase my sales, or how do I develop better relationships with my staff? But really, just to focus on short-term results just creates a deeper dependence on the owner, and really just falls into that trap that we talked about before, with the owner getting better results short-term, but then creating more work for themselves.
Oh, so when the business coach comes in and increases sales, that just could create more work for the business owner, or bringing in staff can actually just create more work. So
we've actually seen cases where a coach has increased sales, but the business has gone out of business quicker because they didn't have their costing system right. So there are a lot of different factors that need to be considered rather than just we don't have enough sales.
Yeah.
And there's so it really is a matter of making sure that every element of the business is working correctly and working in synchronization with each of the other elements to make sure that business works properly.
Very good. You spoke about the 5 mistakes that many business owners make in this area. Would you mind going into some of those?
Sure. There are 5 typical mistakes that are created because of the one fundamental flaw. And just because the owner is developing a business that's based on their own capabilities instead of creating the business that works for them. They, that it comes about typically because they have a short-term focus to begin with, and it's really just crisis management, reacting to what's going wrong in the business, so they focus on that one particular area that's not working and fix that, but that typically creates more work for them. So you've really got to take a step back and look long term to what you want the business to be in 5-10 years time, and work on creating the business that works, and not just focusing on those short-term issues. Now, they need to be dealt with as well, but often you deal with them in a much more effective way by focusing on the long-term result rather than just fixing up a short-term issue. Another area is reactive marketing. There's no marketing plan in place. Typically what I see is the business sales drop off, and the owner might think, heck, I better do some advertising to increase the sales. So they'll put an ad in place and it starts to work and the sales grow. But because of the fundamental flaw again, they start to get too busy. Their business can't cope with more sales, so they think, heck, I better stop the advertising. So they end up, sales taper off again and creates that whole cycle all over again.
Rather than a more consistent approach.
So it was really about developing a marketing plan along with a strategic planning process that creates a sustainable growth path for the business. And looking at what has to be done to create the infrastructure and the capability within the business to cope with the extra sales, and then keep on growing.
And what's the next one?
The third mistake is typically about lack of delegation or inability to delegate, which is one of the most difficult tasks for most business owners to achieve, effective delegation. Then the fourth mistake they make, if they do start to delegate, is not keeping control over the results. So they don't actually measure what's going on. They run by the seat of the pants, don't have effective measurement systems or control systems in place. So the business can easily get out of control if it grows quickly, because the owner is limited by their ability to observe and keep control of results that way, like most small business owners do. So you've got to put in place effective control systems that give you an ability to know what's going on when you're not around. And the final mistake they make is thinking that they have to know it all themselves. It's really impossible for everyone to know everything, and the top business owners, the ones that really succeed, have identified early that they need to get advice from mentors who can, people who have been there and done it before them. So they're quite willingly asking people for advice, and they're quite willing to pay for a mentor to help them through the business growth phases and teach them what they don't know themselves. Unfortunately, a lot of business owners are stuck in an ego trap where they think they need to be the one that comes up with all the answers and solutions for the business and try to do it all themselves. But unfortunately, they just reinvent all the mistakes that have been made by other people in the past. So it's really being able to get over that ego, look for help, and be prepared to pay for advice and mentoring that will help you grow your business faster.
Absolutely. Well, look, if anyone's watching this video and wants more information, what should they do?
Well, obviously, my book, Put Your Business on Autopilot, is well worth reading. But we also have a free report on our website, businessflightpath.com, where they can read the Freedom Challenge, which tells us or tells you more about these 5 critical mistakes that the business owners make, and the 7 steps to grow their business successfully. But also just keep a lookout for more emails that we'll be sending through with extra video content and other articles that will give you lots of tips about how to break through these barriers, how to free up your time from your business and create a business that works so well that you won't have to.
Thanks very much.